This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com and GatheringMagic.com, your place to explore the game.
Hi, this is Sean. We're here at Gen Con 2015, and this is my Shirei Shizo's Caretaker deck. So here's the commander. I'll talk about it a little bit while I go through the basics here. Chose Shirei because I wanted something very commander-centric and that used a lot of cards that you don't normally see. I was also building a little bit on a budget here. Wanted to keep the deck below about $50 when I was buying it, since I like to buy my decks in bulk. And Shirei was perfect for that because the cards in it don't get used elsewhere. Except this one, of course, Cabal Coffers. I think we've all seen it. Great when you play Swamps, and you'll see the other piece a little later. Crypt. Shirei likes to sacrifice creatures, so lots of mana. Everglades, I thought it was cute, came in my commander deck, why not? Love this from the new commander product. Any of the monocolor decks I have play it. Some of my two-color decks play it too. Nykthos, again, monocolor decks, love to tap for more mana. Temple the False God, I really just love the art on this, and I needed to find a place to put it. I love this art. I hope they reprint it with this art, and so I can get some foils. Phyrexia's core, I have a number of artifacts in the deck, and any sack outlets are good, and this was a cheap one. Terrain generator, mono black ramp. Darksteel Citadel, it's an artifact, and sometimes people like to play land destruction, so I like to have one left over. And Shizo's here because it's Shirei, so I kind of had to for style reasons. Mystifying Maze because it's a cheap maze effect. Bojuka Bog because you have to play Bojuka Bog. You can bounce it with one of the lands I saw earlier, so there will be multi-bogging. Urborg because I do play a lot of non-basics for a monocolor deck, and I still want that Cabal Coffers to be cheesy. It gets destroyed a lot, that's fine. Expedition map, lots of non-basics, good to search for them for utility. Ashnod's Altar, sack outlets are great here. The little creatures will give it a lot of value. Ashnod's Altar is one of the cards that is dangerous on almost any deck. I think we've all seen this one before. Sol Ring. Priest of Yawgmoth, a sack outlet that gives mana, even an obscure one I like. It's also 1 power, so it's recurable. Basal Thrull, love it. Shirei. I don't have a way to give it haste, but getting 2 mana a turn is definitely not bad. Liliana's Shade to keep searching the deck and thinning it for swamps. Soldevi Adnate, you saw it with the Yawgmoth guy. I like sacrificing things. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck and one of my new pet cards. The way this one works is when you're taking the counters off, when it dies, it's actually a 0/0, or you can bring it down to a 1/1 and sack it. So it can do a lot of cycle things with Shirei and some of the other cards in the deck. So really love it. Leaden Myr, it's a 1/1, same as some of the other things, a 1/1 that comes back, you tap every turn, and goes for the sack outlets. Bad Liliana's Shade, but still worth it to me. Blood Pet is awesome, because you can do it every turn. So I sacrifice a lot of creatures in the deck, so getting value out of that with Pontiff of Blight and getting out all these little Eldrazi's is perfect. A lot of times I'll store those up for one big spell at the end. Black Market, Pontiff of Blight, same thing. The deck runs off death. Crypt Ghast, this is one of those staples for black. I run a number of effects that use up my life total, and so being able to extort as a minor theme to regain it is very helpful. And now the 2 orbs, probably the least fun cards in the deck, but the deck doesn't actually need to tap its lands all that much, and because I play such small creatures and small spells, a lot of times I need to kind of slow the board down to put them on the same level as me. It's very much an incremental advantage deck, so slowing the game down is to my advantage, to a point, of course. And then we have some of the little creatures in the deck. Gnawing Zombie, sack outlet, then a bit of a drain, Disciple, here just to be a sack outlet. Death Greeter, we got to get into life. You'll see there's a card this goes with where you're going to lose life every time one of the creatures dies. Let you draw a card. This nullifies it, so it's very nice. Blood Artist is one of the best win cons in the deck. I mean, this is really what Shirei likes to do right there. Then we have Bloodthrone Vampire, another win con for the deck. Being able to sacrifice creatures and make this bigger is huge. You actually get in for a serious amount of damage. The Disciple, this is the way you get rid of control players. You empty their hand of the things that'll get rid of you. It seems silly, but when it recurs every turn, this actually gets pretty brutal. Skull Clamp. Interesting thing, Skull Clamp will not work with Shirei, so this is one of the cards that gives you card draw when Shirei's been shut down. But it's so good, and I have so many small creatures that it's still worth doing. Greed, love the card draw, love the advantage. As I said, you need the card advantage when you're drawing little dorks the whole game. Viscera Seer, it goes with the engine. When you need to look for one thing to win, that's what it's there for. Erebos, same as Greed. I like the effect enough that I needed 2 of them. Dark Prophecy, this is what I was talking about with Death Breeder. This card is not a maze, so it will kill you if you do not have a way to gain life, and that's why you'll see the life gain in here. This was a little bit budget, so Phyrexian Arena somehow didn't get into the budget, so I got the cheaper Phyrexian Arena. He happens to smack people in the face, always a good thing. Ogre Slumlord, this is just kind of a value win, like bad win con, but it's still a win con. The rats are good for some of the sack outlets later on. Exsanguinate, I think we've all seen this in black decks. This is when I'm producing all those Eldrazi tokens, that this is where we're going to go with the mana if I can. Lash Writhe, when you play a lot of swamps, being able to equip this to Shirei or a little creature and make them afraid of that creature is huge. This has won games, and I have one with general damage because of this, and its partner in crime over here, Strata Scythe. So, when you get 11 or 12 lands out, it helps. This guy's just a beast in black. All your creatures having a distort, there's no way getting around that being great. Here's another one. This does cycle for the 1 infinite combo in the deck with Nim Death Mantle and Ashnod's Altar. So I'll preface that this is in here for lots of damage, but it is in there for the, oh no, I don't know what I can do to win, so here's my infinite combo. Then we get into some of the control cards. Being able to force your opponents to sacrifice a creature every turn with Shirei is great. Killing creatures with Bone Shredder, also amazing. I love getting the Fume Spitter engine on because people with gods, this is like my black answer to gods if they come online. Triskelion is the long-term win condition for a Shirei loop. So if you can take all his tokens off and he's a 1/1 when he dies, he comes back. Plague Bearer, a bit of a mana sink himself, but he's saved me more times than not, so I like it. And the fact that it's hard to kill with Shirei, also good. Big Game Hunter, just one of my favorite black cards. Kills big things, and there's lots of big things in Commander. Then we have Avatar of Woe. I put a lot of things in my graveyard, so I don't think I've ever cast this for less than 2. And then I machine gun it with Thornbite Staff. It doesn't win the game, but I love to kill the creatures with it. Thornbite Staff's also nice because it lets some of my creatures ping other things. And then I have some Grave Pact effects in here. Dictate of Erebos, Butcher of Malakir, and Grave Pact itself. These are all there because I'm sacrificing my creatures a lot. Massacre Worm is great just for removal on his own, for some of the only mass removal in this deck. It's also great with those Grave Pact effects and, killing people's stuff off. That's a lot of times the life drain. Blasting Station with Shirei is amazing. Sack outlet that keeps untapping when the guys come back in, so this is kind of a machine gun itself. Spine of Ishsaw, you saw this is my other answer to enchantments, not indestructible ones, but it's there. And that's one of the other reasons you saw the Phyrexia's Core earlier. Cadaver Ramp, with Shirei, it can get your yard back. A lot of times you're forced to sacrifice all your creatures without Shirei in play, so it's good to be able to get them back with a Shirei loop. Scarecrow, you saw I do play a number of artifact creatures, so it's there. It also just draws a card a turn with Shirei out, which is very nice. Necrotic Ooze, this is for Oops I Wins. I do have a lot of activated abilities, but I just like to punish people who play like combos by winning off theirs. Otherwise, it's just such a good value creature in Commander. I love it. Mimic that, kind of the same thing. When you're doing Grave Pacts, getting value off other people's creatures is usually the way. I don't think I've ever chosen my own creature for this. They're so small, it's not worth it. Nim Death Mantle, one of my pet cards for a long time. Surprised I don't see it more. Just dangerous, especially when you have so many come into play and leave abilities. Phyrexian Delver is actually really good in this deck because you're not going to lose much life, so you're okay looping it and casting it more than once. There's the big win con in the deck. This is the black version of Insurrection, essentially. Rise of the Dark Realms, very powerful. Twilight's Call, again, with Shirei, you do have to sacrifice your creatures quite a bit, and sometimes you got to bring them all back. Lifeline's there because I've had Shirei stolen, tucked, because in my playgroup we still play with it, and so I needed a secondary Shirei ability that worked. And then, again, Shirei does get removed permanently, so Oversold Cemetery is just being able to refill and continue those loops. It may not be as fast, but that's the way the deck wins, so it needs to draw off it. And same thing, Oath of Druids just need recursion in this deck. The deck runs off recursion, and you just hope they don't have too much graveyard hate. Thanks for watching CMDR decks. Please subscribe and favorite.